Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm coming with an updated deck profile of the Zoro Rush deck. I made a video about a week and a half, give it or take. But I made some changes to the deck, and as I mentioned in that video, this is a fairly new game, so we're still testing what might work, what people is playing at your locals, and what could work best. So after the changes, this deck did way better than the previous version. Proof is I won one of our local tournaments. I play against two Zoro Rush, like mirror match. I play two Kaidos and one Doflamingo at the final, and I went 5-0. And in the day before, I play against two Doflamingos, two Kids, and one Kaido, and I lost the final to the Kid. I just didn't have the cards at that moment to run over the 8 cost Kid blocker, but I still did pretty good. I went 4-1, and the next day I went 5-0, right? I'm gonna show you this new version, and this is the winner promo pack. I'm not gonna open it, FYI, I just wanted to show it to you. I wanna keep it sealed. But this is the pack that you get with the promo card that has the winner stamp on it. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, as always, we're gonna start with the cost 1. So we're playing 4 of the cost 1 Nami. That's our searcher. She can search Straw Hat characters or events. So pretty good card. Then we're playing 4 of the 1 cost blocker. It is a 1 cost blocker, not much to tell you about that. Then we're still playing 4 Otamas. Her on play effect did come up a couple of times. I did lose to the Kid, as I mentioned before, but there was one time in the previous match where I was able to get rid of the Kids by playing Otama, giving it 2,000 less, and then using Jet Pistol. So that won me that game basically. So the on-play effect will come up, but most of the times you want it for the 2000 counter. And lastly, for level or cost 1, we play 2 of the Namis that can give 1 rested dawn to our leader or characters. This Nami is pretty good because we basically will always have an extra dawn. But I didn't wanna, I was playing it like more copies of her, but sometimes I was getting too many and she doesn't add that much when you don't have other cards. So I cut it down to 2, and I think that's the perfect number to play her at. So let's move on to level 2s. Okay, for cost 2, I'm playing 4 copies of the 2 cost Vivi. This card just really adds a lot of early pressure in the game. Let's say you're going second, right? You play her for the 2 costs. Next turn, you're gonna have 4 dawns, which means that you can give 1 dawn to your leader and make an attack with 5,000 plus the 6,000 from your leader. And then you can play something like a Robin for next turn, or even if you have a Zoro Rush, with the remaining 3, you can play Zoro Rush and have a 3rd attack for 6,000. So like, this card allows you to put a lot of pressure early on in the game. Either your opponent will have to take the hits or start spending counters. Either way, really good. Okay, next I'm playing 4 copies of Gordon. Gordon, the on-play effect, I have used it a couple of times, but it's really a hit or miss, honestly. Mostly it's for the 2000 counter protection. Then I'm playing 3 Sanjis. This Sanji basically has the same stats as Vivi. It's a 2 cost, 4000 power, but it has the effect that if you add 2 dawns to it, it becomes Rush. So it could be a 4 cost, 6000 Rush character, but it doesn't have a counter, right? So that's why I'm playing it to 3 and Vivi to 4. Because the counter sometimes does come up, and we already have a lot of attacking power. But still, this is a pretty good card. I think 3 is the right amount. And lastly, I'm playing 2 Bartholomew's. This is a card that I might bump up to 3. I might take one of the Luffy Rush, the 5-cost Luffy, to play a third of this. So I can have 7 blockers in total. And it's also a plus 1000 counter, it's not bad. But having blockers to protect mostly your characters, because your opponents is almost never gonna go to your life, because they are not one to leave your characters, right? Because next turn you're just gonna rush them over. So they are most of the times gonna go after your characters, so you don't rush them over. So being able to have blockers or counters to protect them is really important. So that's why I'm thinking I'm gonna bump this up to 3. But that's it for level 2s. Let's move on. Okay, now for level 3s, of course we're playing for the 3-cost Zoro Rush. Just an amazing card, not much to say there. And we're playing 4 copies of the 3-cost Nico Robin. This card is really good. When attacking, you give it 1 down, right? And when attacking, you can knock out one of your opponent's characters with 3000 power or less. So let's say you attack, you can get rid of one of their blockers and the attack goes through. And if they have a second blocker and they decide to block, then well, technically you're getting rid of 2 blockers. And talking about blockers, this card is technically a blocker because it puts so much pressure that your opponent is gonna want to get rid of her as soon as they can. Because again, when it attacks, you're gonna be knocking out one of your opponent's characters with 3000 cores or less. So they are really going to get rid of this card. Okay, now to level 4s. We are only playing 2 copies of Uta. Uta is a really good card. We're just playing the 2 copies because we don't want to see her like early game. We want to see her middle to late game after our opponent has gotten rid of some of our characters. Most of the times when I play her, I will want to get like a Zoro back. So I play her, get a Zoro back. If I have the 3 dons active, I will play Zoro, attack with my leader. And next turn, even if they get rid of the Zoro again, I would still have a 4000 body on the field. Or you can get Nami if you want to do a search for a specific, maybe if you want to search for like Diablo Jambe, if you want to go for game or something like that. The point is this card is really good in this deck. Now let's move on to level 5s. Okay, for level 5s, I'm playing 4 copy of the Luffy Rush. This card is insanely good. However, I'm thinking I'm gonna cut it to 3 so I can play the 3rd Bartholomew, because personally I'm seeing it too much like early game, and early game is kind of a dead card to be honest, because it's 5 costs, and if you want to activate these effects to be unblockable, you will have to spend 2 more dons. So technically becomes a 7 don or 7 cost, sorry, 8000 unblockable rush card, which is amazing like late in the game. But again, early in the game is kind of a brick because you're not gonna be able to take full advantage of its potential. So I'm thinking of cutting it down to 3. But if you want to play it to 4, that's completely fine. Let's move on. Okay, and lastly for the events, playing 3 copies of Diablo Jambe, or however you say that. This card is just insanely good going for game. I went for game like 3 times with this card because you just like late in the game after you're beating all of your opponents like life cards, right? You use 1 don to use it, right? You give it to Zoro, your leader, and then you attach the remaining 9 dons to Zoro, and you attack with 14,000 power directly, and your opponent cannot block it. So the only way to survive if they can put counters on their leader that will make it 15,000 power or higher, right? Which is honestly very difficult to do. So this card is insanely good, and the trigger effect is also pretty good. Knockouts one of your opponent's blockers with a cost of 3 or less, so not bad. Then I'm playing 2 Red Hawks. As a counter, we give one of our characters or leader 4000 power, and then we can knock out one of our opponent's characters with 4000 power or less as well. The trigger effect, we give minus 10,000 power during this turn to one of our opponent's leader or character. So that can come up, but honestly not as much. And lastly, the card that did help me the most during this weekend is Jet Pistol. This card is just the MVP of the deck, to be honest. Whether I got it in my hand or whether I saw it in my life and I activated the trigger, just being able to knock out one of our opponent's 6000 power or less characters is just really good. If I could play more copies of this, I honestly would, but 4 copies I would say is like really necessary. This card is just amazing. And that was it for the updated version of the deck profile. If you like it, let me know. Subscribe to the channel, give a like to this video. If you have any suggestions, comments, or feedback, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.